real stream on how to use Apphive. I'm your host, Jorge Rangel. Nice to meet you if you didn't see me before. And let's continue. We already start building something, and I'm going to show you again what is. So if you want to know how I build it, you just have to watch the previous live stream. So let's go right ahead. Give me a moment. I will share my screen. And another thing, if there is someone here in the chat, please let me know if everything is working correctly, if you can hear me, or if you have any issues with the video. Okay, give me a moment. I am closing everything so I can show you my screen. Give me a moment, please. Okay, there you go. Let me put this one here and present my screen. Okay, let's see again what we already built. Sorry. So let's launch this application. And we have an application here that detects when I am already logged in. How? In the splash screen page, you have here the function to check if you are already logged in. So in order to continue, now I need to add a button here to log out, so we can show again how to log in. So let's add the button at the top here and put here logout. By double clicking on the button and putting log out here. Now, when I click on this one and add the event on press, I can log out from my account with this function. And then in the callback that is called successful logout, I'm going to redirect to the start page so so the user can be redirected to the login. Replace top page. And let's go to the start page right here. And there you go. Let's try it out. Logout. Okay, it is working. How do I know that it is working? Because here now I have the Google login button. The Google login button is in this page called out, and this page is displayed after the start page checks if the user is logged in, and because it's not logged in, it replaces the page and goes to the out page, which is this one. Let's create again my account. Oh, not create, let's log in with my account. And after I logged in, I can see here my list of to-dos, okay? So now if you remember correctly, I can add here another to-do, and I can complete the to-dos that I already created. Yeah. So here, in order to do that, we have an add collections UI that creates each element on my list. And I have an event when I change the value here, and I complete the task using an app process that I have here that does two things. First, three things. First, reads the value that I have already in my database, and after that, it copies that value in the close to-dos, which is the collection that has all the to-do items that are already completed. And after that, it removes the values from the database that sorry, it should remove them, right? Because here, okay, this one is only the string interpolation. This one saves or makes the copy, and after that, it removes the value. Here you go. And when I remove the value, I return to the page in which I load my items, and that is why it refreshes this part right here. So this was an example of how to do a to-do list using real-time Firebase database with Apphive. Real-time Firebase database is an non-relational database, so you have to do a lot of redundancy and a lot of copying and a lot of moving when you are working with the database in order for this database to display the information as you want it without wasting the information from the database, because that is billing to you when the application is in production. So now let's do a little bit more with this application. Now that I have the to-do list here, I want to add a new demo to my applications, and the new demo will illustrate a lot of other features that we didn't have here. For example, how to search something in my to-do list. I didn't put anything here to search, right? Because I could have a lot of items right here. For example, let's add another one, let's add another one, let's add another one, and let's add. I'm going to add a lot of items. So now the necessity to add a search or a filter it's almost obvious, right? Because I have a lot of to-dos. So let's change the placeholder here because it says text and that doesn't tell me exactly what this input does. So let's change the placeholder here in the editor, in the data section, sorry. So let's put here new item text. And this one is going to be the input that is going to be used to create a new item. Here you go. Let's refresh. So my item is it's displayed. My items are displayed, sorry. And now let's add a new input that will be my search. In order to do that, let's go here to this section, sorry, this one, and here you can see what we call the tree of controls. So if I go to my page that I am here, that is home, you can see four, sorry, here. Each one represents one section of my page. If I select this one, which is the largest of them all, and go to the style section, I can see here that the height is 70%. I'm going to put it in 60%. Why? Because I'm going to be adding another item, another container, sorry, right here. And this container will have the height in percentage as well, and I will put it in 10%. So this one is going to be another one of my items, and I'm going to put it right here and at the top. So click on it, and with the arrow in your keyboard, you can move it between the items that share the same space. For example, this one right here share the same space with everything else, with this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So if I have this one selected and I press the arrow in my keyboard, I can go up and I can go down without dragging or dropping it. This is quite useful when I have a lot of items or where the space is very tight, which is the case right here. So I'm going to put this container right here, and I'm going to change the value of its background so I can distinguish it. And let's add a new text field. Sorry, this is a text. Let's add a text field right here. And let's double click on it to change the placeholder. If you remember, when I changed the placeholder in this one, I didn't use the double click. I go to the data section and type here the placeholder. In this case, I can do that by double clicking on it and put it here, search. Okay, and now with this, I can search values, or I can filter the values on my list. How? Before I show the collections list, I'm going to filter out from the list of data the ones that are not that do not match what I put here in my search field. So for example, I can go here, put this one a little bit more reduced like this one, and after that I'm going to put an event when this value changes. And let's put a debug log first and put here the value that is returned by this event. Okay, so let's go here, let's open my console with F12 and refresh the page. There you go. And now when I type here, you can see the debug log shows the last value it gets from here. So with this value, I need to compare it with each one of the values right here and exclude the ones that doesn't have the same string. So in order to do that, let's add a new property to the page and call it search string. This property is going to be the one that is going to be changed by this input. So let's go here, instead of the debug log, let's add a replace top page, and the value that I'm going to put here. Okay, I'm going to go to the same page that I am here right now, which is home. Let's add the same to-dos right here, and let's add the search string. The search string is going to be the value that is returned by the event. Okay, and now let's try it out. Click on it. You can see that when I put the value, it of course renders the list that is right here. And how do I know it is rendering the list? Because I have the profiler here from the React DevTools, because we at Apphive use React from the to render your application. So if you are building something with Apphive, you can presuppose that everything is rendered in React. So you can use the React DevTools in web to check out which components are rendered. So for example, if I go here, you can see that when I put something here, it shows here in the profiler. There you go. And now each time I type here, the page is rendered completely. I'm going to do a refresh here so you can see it again. Click on it. There you go. You can see the value changes the render properties here. So now that I have the value here in my search string as a property on my page, I can go to the onload onload event here on my page, and before I do the add collections to UI, I can print the value from my search in the debug log. A debug log, sorry, I say it in Spanish, and I'm going to put the debug log first, and after that, here in the debug log, I'm going to print the value that is passed in the page data as the search string. Let's go right here and let's press refresh. So now you can see there is no value right now. But if I type here, for example, a letter, you can see the letter is shown right here. And if I type again, you can see the value changes as I type here. Okay. Now that I have the value here, let's filter the values from my to-dos before I made the collection. So let's add another debug log to check out the structure of my to-dos. So let's print here the second value from my page data, which is the to-dos value. So let's return here and let's refresh. There you go. Let's type. Okay, here it is. And you can see my to-dos is a collection or an object, a record in JavaScript with two values. The first one is the name and the second one is the created at. I need to compare the name of each one of my to-do items in order to filter them. To do that, let's return here and let's add a new function which is called for each. Let's put this function before the add collections to UI, and let's put some options here. First for all, I don't want a for each. I want a collection filter in order to filter the information from my to-dos. Let's pass it the to-dos values as the collection to filter. There you go. And after that, in the callback section, I can put here in the done value a debug log function. And in this debug log function, I'm going to print the value that is returned from the for each function. Let's remove these debug functions that I have here before this collection filter, and let's open the iteration editor. The iteration, you can think of it as another event which has its list of functions. So let's add a new function here. The first function that I want to add is a debug log. Why? Because I want to know which values are returned from the for each inside the item iteration. So let's put that here and let's return a value. The value that I return here will will tell the function for each which items are going to be kept in the new collection or which ones are going to be excluded. So if I return true if in any one of the items, the resulting collection will be exactly the same as the original one. The only difference is that now I'm going to print for each item this debug log right here. So let's do that. Let's refresh. There you go, and you can see here I have a key and I have an item in each one of the iteration of the for each. So now I want to extract only the name of each one of the items. So in order to do that, let's click again here, and the for each, let's put here item dot name, and let's rerun this. There you go. You can see here I can access to each one of the names. Now, before we do the actual filtering, let's do something else. Let's do a little validation. The validation is when I do not have any search value here in my input, it doesn't make sense for me to filter the values from the collection. So in order to do that condition that when I don't have anything in the search value, the collection is not altered, let's add a new function here that is called it's valid. Value is valid, this one. Now let's pass it here the value from my search input, which is in my page data, search in a string, this one. And after that, it has two callbacks. The first one is a valid value, and the second one is an invalid value. When this one that is invalid value is called is when the value that we pass to it is false. For example, an empty string is a false value. So now we can know whether the search string has something or not. If it has nothing, we can return true directly without checking anything, because when it is true, when there is no search value, sorry, any all the items on the collection should be displayed. So that is why I'm doing that here. Let's remove this one because it's no longer needed, and let's put this one here in the is a valid value, so we only execute this part of the code when the value is valid, and let's return false each time the search value is valid. So let's return here false. There you go. And now let's check it out here. Okay, the value here is not valid, or is an empty string. So now instead of creating the add collections to UI here, let's add it after our debug log, and instead of putting the to-dos directly, let's add the for each result. So let's refresh right here. And there you go, my list is completed. So let's clear the console and put something here. For example, a D. And you can see when I put a value here, the debug logs inside the iteration of the for each are executed because this value is valid. Yeah. And after that, as we return a false value on each one of the items, doesn't matter what name does it have, we return false. So the resulting collection is an empty one. If I remove this one, you can see the list is displayed again. So now we have the basic functionality, but this doesn't work yet. The next part is to add the validation or the comparison between the name of the item and the value we have on the search button. So in order to do that, let's try with a global formatter. The global formatter function has a lot of utilities that we can use. So let's pass it here the value of the name of our item. There you go. Let's put it here that this one is a string. And the validation that we are going to make is going to be slice, replace, upper, split, JSON. There should be a contains. Replace, no spaces, uppercase, splits. Okay, let's search for another function. Debug logs and alert, modify control, replace dot page. Okay, there should be a way to check whether or not a string contains another one, right? Because it is needed right now. For example, if I do a replace here, okay, we can be a little bit clever about it. Just know that I do not recommend doing exactly that. I am only going to do it to show you that it is possible, but we should, as Apphive should have a function that will return whether or not a string contains another string, because it is needed for this kind of stuff. In fact, I'm going to add it to my list. Give me a moment, please. I'm going to do that in another page that you are not seeing in the screen right now. But I think that this function is quite important and it should be there. So let me put it here. String contains. This function will receive an string and will return and will have, have two callbacks to check if the substring is contained. Okay, I'm putting another task, for me to add this function to Apphive because I think it's quite useful and it is needed for us. So there you go, it is. For now, let's use a hack to do it, but again, I do not recommend you to do this because it's not exactly correct. What we need to do is to compare this value. Okay, not compare it. We need to check if this value contains the search string. Okay, in order to do that, as I do not have a function that says contains, I need to replace it with another thing. And what I want to do now is I'm going to put a global formatter that replaces parts of the string, right? I'm going to put here replace, and because I am using a replace function, I should be able to check the length of the original name and the replaced one. And if the lengths do not match, it means the name contains the search string. Yeah, I know it's a little bit confusing, and I shouldn't do. You shouldn't do that if we have the correct contains function, because we need the contains function. So let's put here target type details. Let's put here the value from my search, which is this one. There you go. And after that, let's put the debug log function after the global formatter. So let's put it here, and let's print the global formatter value, and let's check it out. Let's check what happens there. Let's refresh this page. There you go. And let's add here global formatter error, not a valid target type from string to replace. Origin, hello there. Not a valid target type. What does that mean? Origin target type. Oh, okay, I got it. Origin target type. This one, target type is a replace. It should be a replace, right? Let's put here the value, page data, search string, and remove this one to check that out. Maybe that is the correct way to use it. I don't remember how to use the global formatter, and I don't really like to use the global formatter because it's a little bit confusing and cumbersome. No, it doesn't let me. Not a valid target type from string to replace. Okay, origin, hello there. Okay, maybe the origin is not correct. The valid target type origin, but the origin is detected correctly, is the item that I am running, right? So there is something wrong with this part right here. So let's check it out. My global formatter, origin data, origin type detail, target type. It should be this one, right? Let me check it out. In order to do that, I need to open something that I have here. It's not documentation. That's the other thing that I want to tell you. The documentation from the Apphive function is not yet complete. So we don't have all the functions documented. For example, what I am struggling to do right now is to check out how the global formatter function works, and and that shows how we should have documentation, proper documentation for each one of the function. So I'm going to check it out in my source code, which you can't do. Okay, but I'm going to do that. To check if I have. Okay, let me check a little bit. Give me a moment. Okay, the origin type is a string. So I have here the string, and the target type is replace. So let me check that out here. There you go. Okay, the original data should be a string. The origin type details should be a string. Oh, okay, I need here. Okay, the origin is okay. I need to put another string right here because the origin type detail is going to be used to replace the values. So I need to put here an empty string, and in order to do that, let's do an space and then a backspace. So I have an empty string right here. And after that, it should work as expected. Let's check it out. Okay, let's open again my console. And let's add here a T. There you go. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, now I have the function that replaces in each one of my items the name. It replaces the search string that I put here. So now, for example, let's remove all the search strings and let's check this out. For example, if I put this one, you can see one of the items is now an empty string because it's the only one that matches this string that I have here. So in order to check that, I need to be after the global formatter. Let's put here name without search string. After this global formatter, I need to do a conditional. And the conditional will be right here. And here I put the value of the item that I am checking right now, and the value of the item is for each item dot name because I need to check this name. Oh, sorry, this name dot length. There you go. I need to check this one with the one from the name without search string dot length. Okay, and I'm going to put this one, triple operator. And if the values match, it means the name doesn't contain the search value. So I'm going to put this one instead. Let's remove the debug log and let's add the compute callbacks. The compute callbacks false is going to be here if the value doesn't change, if the length is exactly the same. If the length changes, it means the value contains the search string, so it should be on the list. Let's check it out. Let's refresh the page and let's type something. For example, A, S, D, D. There you go. If I remove this D, you can see a lot of my to-do list match this one, but if I put another D, only this one matches. And if we put the F, S, A, F, S, A, D, and I put something different, like an S, the list is empty because we don't have any of the items that match this one. And there you go. With that, we can implement now a search value. And one thing that is important about this is that we only get the values from the database once. When we are on this page, we get the database. And after that, we replace that page for this one. And this one does the search in the client. So the client executes the code that will get us the part of the collection that matches or search. Okay. What do I mean by that? For example, if I put here hello, I should have here the item with hello. But now if I add another one, hello there, what I expect to happen is for this one to stay here and have the new one here. And the other ones, the rest, should not appear because they do not match this one. Let's add that. But I get the complete list. Why? The reason is because I didn't put the value here in the add. When I add the value, after I save the data, I add a modify control that changed the value here in my item to clear it. And after that, I'm going to go to the home loader. Yeah, but the home loader doesn't retain the value from the input. The input has the value here, but the value on my page is not displayed here. So I need to change that. How do I do that? I need to put the search string here. Okay, and when I finish the add process, when I save the item in my database, I need to add the search string to the home page loader. So in order to do that, let's go page data and let's put the search string. After that, I can return to this one, and in this one, when I finish loading my to-dos, I can add here the search string. So it will go back to my page, my home page, and here in my home page I will retain the search string. Let's check it out. Okay, all my list is here. Let's put hello, and you can see now that it matches the two that I add. Let's add a third one. Hello there 3. And there you go. Now the filter is kept between the renders of my page. I can add another one. Hello there 4. And there you go. I can change the value here to a 4, and you can see the list re-renders here. This is the number 4. And let's add that one. There you go. If I remove this one, and I can complete the list as I did before. There you go, there you go, there you go. Let's complete as much of my list as I wanted. There you go. And now if I put that 3 here, sorry, there in the search at 3, we can add a new one. This is the number 3. And let's add the one. There you go. My list is filtered depending on the value here in my search, and I can propagate the search value from the loading screen to here. So when I add a new value, the search string is kept in as the value here. And now the other thing that I want to do is removing my console logs, my debug logs, sorry, because when I am rendering this page, I debug log the for each, and I don't need to do that anymore. So let's refresh the page again. And there you go. Okay, hello. Okay, there you go. I can put these ones and I can complete these ones. But you can see when I complete a value, let's check that out again. Okay, let's refresh the page and let's add here the value that I want. For example, the age. Hell, there you go. Only this one matches. When I complete this one, I expect to see an empty list. Let's check it out. But no, when I remove an item, sorry, when I complete an item, the filter is not propagated to the new render. It was exactly the same problem with the add part here, right? because if I add one, you can see it works. But now when I complete an item, it doesn't work. How do I change that? I'm going to go to the function that renders all my items right here, and let's go to the list items button, and here to the switch. When the switch value changes, I complete the task, and after I complete the task, I go to the home loader. But in the home loader, I can put the search string in order to propagate it to the new page when all the items are loaded. Let's check it out. Let's refresh this one. And here I have one hello. Let's put another one, hello 2. There you go. And let's put in the filter the word hello. There you go. Now, when I complete one of these, I expect the other one to be the only one in the list to be showing. There you go. If I remove the filter, you can see all of my items. So there you have it. Now I showed you how to do filtering here in Apphive. The bottom line here is that we should have a function to check if a string contains other string. Why? Because it's very much completely useful for this use case. But we did some hack, a little bit of a hack there. How we took the value from the search string and the value from the name on each one of our items, and we replace the search string in the item. What that does is create a new string that doesn't have the search string and only has what remains of the name. So for example, if the name does not contain the search string, the result from the replacement will be exactly the same string as the name. So if the name and the resulting one doesn't change, it doesn't have, if the name of the item and the string after the replacing have the same length, what that means is that the item doesn't have the search text, the item name. So that is how we check if the item should be on the list or not. Of course, it will be a little bit more simple if we have the string concat. Why? The string contains. Why? Because instead of doing a replace and then the condition, we can only do the string contains, and after that we can return the true or the false value. Okay, so with that, I'm going to let you do there so you can practice. In the next one, we are going to be adding a lot more stuff to our application, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of the functions that we already add to our documentation. Remember, I told you that when I was adding the global formatter, I told you that we need documentation for each one of the functions. So we are already working on it. But for now, we only have this one. Sorry, I'm going to refresh this page. Here, you can add a button and we can add functions, and the functions that already have documentation and are, for example, the JSON stringify. This one, you can click here in the question mark and you can see here the documentation, and we have the object set and the object concat. For example, we should have the global formatter here. So right now it is not right here, but we are going to be adding more functions to our documentation later, and I'm going to be showing you which one are added. And I'm going to be doing demos from these functions, object concat and object set, in the next live stream. So thank you so much for watching, and I expect to see you in the next one. Bye bye.